Before starting the video, I would like you to subscribe, that would help me a lot, thank you. GYOMEI embodies the gentle giant archetype, being surprisingly soft-spoken and sensitive, despite his outwardly intimidating appearance. He is also shown to be quite pious, carrying his prayer beads at all times and offering prayers in poignant situations. Most notably, GYOMEI easily cries over the most insignificant things, accentuating his rather soft nature. This could be due to his love for all living creatures brought about by his religious upbringing, and insinuated when he felt so disgusted by beating up a demon that he would never forget that feeling for the rest of his life. Like the rest of the Hashira, GYOMEI has a great deal of respect for Kaguya Ubuyashiki, of which no small part was due to the Oyakata saving his life. He is also one of the most respected individuals among the Demon Slayer Corps, not only due to being a member of the Hashira but because he serves as a symbol of hope due to his immense strength. Shinobu Kocho had once stated that when GYOMEI fights, it puts everyone around him at ease. Furthermore, GYOMEI serves as a leader for them, as seen when he sat at the front during Hashira meetings and was often looked to for his word and opinion. He was entrusted by Kaguya to give out orders to them, due to both GYOMEI being the oldest and because Kaguya had known him for the longest out of anyone outside his own family. Though he maintains a fairly reserved disposition, GYOMEI harbors a very objective and somewhat suspicious view of the people around him, owing to his experiences before becoming a demon slayer. He is ever cognizant of what others, particularly children or those younger than him, are capable of if given the opportunity. By reason of his doubtful nature, it can take a while for GYOMEI to completely accept and trust others. When he does open up and let others in, he is unwavering in his commitment to them. GYOMEI greatly values the principles that allowed him to achieve his status as a Hashira, rejecting Kokushibo's notion that he must become a demon in order to preserve the physical abilities and skills he had devoted himself to, and retorts his statement by saying that being a demon slayer means accepting the fact that seeing tomorrow is not guaranteed and that no one can become a Hashira with Kokushibo's half-hearted resolution. As with Kyojuro Rengoku, the Stone Hashira also believes that living and dying as humans preserve one's dignity, and he even took the upper rank statement as an insult and demanded the demon does not force his self-righteous belief onto him, further accentuating how dearly he holds on to his values. Additionally, despite his generally reserved and polite disposition, in that moment, angered by Kokushibo's outright rejection of his humanity, GYOMEI taunted him for lying about the fate of those who have gained the Demon Slayer marks, prodding the demon for hiding the fact that someone has likely lived past the age of 25 and laughing at his visible apprehension. As a Hashira of the Demon Slayer Corps, GYOMEI is a very powerful and skilled combatant. He is stated by both Tanjiro Kamado and Inosuke Hashibara to be the strongest demon slayer in the entire Demon Slayer Corps. Additionally, Tengen Yuzui had once called GYOMEI a complete enigma, which can either refer to his incredible physical prowess or his tremendous skill despite his blindness. This is further given credence by Kokushibo, who noted that GYOMEI's natural physical abilities have been trained to their absolute peak and had stated that in the last 300 years, he has not encountered a warrior of GYOMEI's caliber. He was also able to put up a fight against the strongest upper rank for a brief time without the use of his Demon Slayer mark, further showing the extent of his skill. Moreover, Kokushibo noted that GYOMEI and Sanemi were two of the more highly skilled combatants, even among the ranks of the already powerful Hashira. After the fight, GYOMEI, who was injured and slightly fatigued, was able to contribute greatly in driving Muzan Kibutsuji, the Demon King, into a corner. Tactical intellect, GYOMEI has displayed keen intellect and judgment abilities while fighting. When fighting against Kokushibo, he realized that the upper rank was overpowering him in a way that was supernatural but still could be obtained or countered somehow. When he gained access to the transparent world, he surmised that his eyes gave him the ability to access this special world as well and instinctively learned how to use this to his advantage, even going as far as to manipulating his own blood flow and breathing to disrupt Kokushibo's attacks. Upon seeing Muzan's special constitution, he immediately deduced that he needed to attack all 12 of his vital organs simultaneously to deal significant damage to him. Demon Slayer Mark. Later during his battle against Upper Rank 1, GYOMEI displayed that he too has awakened his mark, appearing as cracked earth fissure-like patterns on both of his forearms. When activated, it drastically increases his physical abilities, such as his strength, speed, and stamina, allowing him to fight the upper rank for an extended period of time. Bright Red Nichiren. During the battle against Kokushibo, Sanemi strikes GYOMEI's spiked flail with his sword, turning both of them briefly bright red, allowing him to destroy Kokushibo's head. Later in the battle against Muzan, GYOMEI turned his weapons bright red again by striking them together. Transparent World. Despite being blind, GYOMEI gained the ability to access to the transparent world and can predict his opponent's movements and sense them naturally. Repetitive action. Created by GYOMEI, this is a technique which maximizes concentration, in a similar way to total concentration breathing, by remembering a painful memory. GYOMEI is shown to use this extensively during his training, and presumably while in combat too. Immense speed and reflexes. Despite GYOMEI's large build, he possesses tremendous speed and reflexes. He is said to be the third fastest runner among the Hashira. GYOMEI's incredible speed was put on display during his fight against Kokushibo, where he is able to easily move his body around to avoid all of his attacks, the upper rank even remarking that the belying ease and grace that he moved with was almost too absurd to believe. GYOMEI was also able to keep up with Kokushibo for the entire duration of the fight, putting pressure on him with the help of Sanemi, Muchiro, and Genya. Later, he was capable of keeping up with the blistering movement speeds of the Demon King himself, Muzan, for a good portion of the fight. Immense stamina and endurance. GYOMEI possesses tremendous levels of physical endurance and stamina, so much so that his training during Hashira training focused on endurance. He was able to nonchalantly stand on ground that was on fire while carrying 2 massive logs being further weighted down by 4 large rocks, even calmly explaining the details of his training to Tanjiro and Zenitsu while doing so. He also displayed his superhuman levels of stamina and endurance during the fight against Kokushibo, where he was able to hold off the upper rank for the entire duration of the fight without significantly tiring, on top of sustaining deep cuts all over his body. After getting one of his legs slashed off by Muzan, GYOMEI was able to persist and continue contributing to the fight against the Demon King. Immense strength. GYOMEI possesses the greatest level of physical strength in the entire Demon Slayer Corps, most notably showcased when he is able to easily lift and swing his massive spiked flail and axe constructed from pure iron at speeds faster than the eye can see incessantly to thwart the attacks of Kokushibo. He was also able to push a large boulder bigger than him through a town with his bare hands. GYOMEI also nonchalantly endured the weight of 2 massive logs on his back, further weighed down with 4 large rocks. According to GYOMEI, he was naturally born with the gift of his incredulous physical strength, as shown when he subdued a demon that attacked him when he was a skinny teenager by beating it to a bloody pulp with nothing but his bare hands prior to him joining the Demon Slayer Corps and undergoing training. Enhanced hearing. Due to being blind, GYOMEI has compensated and alternated his senses to adapt to his condition, effectively developing a superhuman sense of hearing. His sense of hearing was so acute that GYOMEI can accurately discern and interact with his surroundings normally, even engaging in high-speed combat with demons without trouble. More impressively, GYOMEI was able to hear the sound of Muzan Kibutsuji's flesh regeneration during their brief confrontation and used it to determine that he is unlike any demon he has ever faced based solely on the sound the Demon King gave off. Later during his battle with Upper Rank 1, Kokushibo noted that GYOMEI uses the sound of his chains rattling to tell the exact position the chain is in and uses that to guide his axe and flail during combat. As seen during his conversation with Kokushibo regarding the Demon Slayer mark, GYOMEI was able to accurately tell that he was lying by detecting the slight changes of the sound his body, with GYOMEI noting that he heard the latter shake after revealing his deception. Kusarigama Jutsu. Unlike ordinary demon slayers who use swords in combat, GYOMEI uses a spiked flail and axe reminiscent of a kusarigama, a weapon consisting of a scythe and heavy iron weight connected with a metal chain, and thus would use a similar fighting style known as kusarigama jutsu. As a Hashira, GYOMEI is extremely proficient in combat and one of the most skilled combatants in the entire Demon Slayer Corps, particularly in this fighting style, which can briefly match the likes of Upper Rank 1, Kokushibo, a demon swordsman who has nearly 5 centuries of swordsmanship experience. Moreover, he was also shown to be able to hold off Muzan and his blisteringly fast whips for an extended period of time, using his spiked flail to deliver powerful blows to the Demon King. Stone breathing, a breathing style GYOMEI either mastered himself or learned from a cultivator. In his own version of this breathing style, GYOMEI incorporates his superhuman sense of hearing and physical strength to utilize a spiked flail and axe to use its techniques. As the Stone Hashira, GYOMEI is his generation's most skilled stone breathing user. He displayed mastery of stone breathing in his battle against Kokushibo, where he was able to unleash attacks that were able to match the demon's moon breathing. Instead of a Nichiren katana, GYOMEI wields a weapon similar to a kusarigama, consisting of an ono, axe, attached to a chijiriki, flail, via a long chain. Still, the weapon is forged from the same steel used in the creation of Nichiren swords. Its craftsmanship in particular is noted for being incredibly high class, being made of pure iron that has absorbed so much sunlight, it was considered even superior to the iron used to forge swords during the Sengoku period, when swordsmithing was at the peak of development. Even upper rank one, Kokoshibo, could not cut through the chain and was forced to instead resort to long-range combat. As noted by Kokoshibo, this weapon is very well thought out, as the vibrations created by the chain can be picked up by GYOMEI's acute sense of hearing to accurately grasp the space and movements around him, further enhancing its effectiveness in battle. On the hilt of his axe, the words "Destroyer of Demons" are carved. GYOMEI is blind, thus explaining the reason for the lack of pupils in his eyes. He was blinded due to a fever he had when he was a child. His given name, GYOMEI, is composed of the Gohan-yomi reading of the kanji for sakura, meaning formations of the mind, and the kanon-yomi reading for dark, depressed. His surname, Himejima, can be read in one go as Screaming Island. It is composed of the kanon-yomi reading of the kanji for karu, along, to cry, scream, and the kuin-yomi rendaku for islet, island. Seo carries immense guilt over GYOMEI being mistakenly arrested. Even after roughly 10 years go by, she still wants to apologize to GYOMEI for the misunderstanding. GYOMEI is one of the current Hashira who doesn't use a Nichiren sword. According to Tengen Yuzui, GYOMEI is a complete enigma. Namu Amida Butsu, also known as Nembutsu, is a Nyanfo chant from Shin Buddhism. A common translation is, bow for the sake of Amitabha Buddha. GYOMEI is the few Hashira besides Muchiro and Shinobu to have a personal connection to an upper rank, that being upper rank 6, Kaigaku. Kaigaku was one of the orphan children under GYOMEI's care at the temple and would later be directly responsible for the demon attack that resulted in the death of all the children, except Seo, and his wrongful imprisonment. GYOMEI is often depicted with tears streaming down his face. It is later revealed that he cries extremely easily at almost anything, even crying for something as minor as when there is litter on the ground. GYOMEI loves cats, a trait he has in common with the love Hashira, Mitsuri Kenroji. One of GYOMEI's hobbies is playing the shakuhachi, a type of flute. Once, when he played for too long, his grandmother hit him with a broom. GYOMEI shares his Japanese and English voice actors as Kion from The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. GYOMEI viewed the other Hashira as follows. She's sensitive and pushes herself too hard. She likes talking to Tomioka. Insect Hashira. He talks big, but he's clear-headed. He has an accurate grasp of his own abilities, so he isn't arrogant. Sound Hashira. She's a good girl with a pleasant nature. Apparently, she has a crush on Iguro. Love Hashira. He has a strong spirit. He's sensitive on the inside, so he easily gets embarrassed. Apparently, he likes Kane. Wind Hashira. He's dark and not much of a talker, but apparently he enjoys chatting with Kocho. Water Hashira. He's straightforward, optimistic, and never complains. Flame Hashira. He has a mature spirit and speaks up when he should. Mist Hashira. He's a serious, sensitive boy. And he has a crush on Kenroji. Serpent Hashira. GYOMEI's level of openness was ranked as 90%. GYOMEI's father died in an epidemic, while his mother died in childbirth. Some time later he was blinded due to a fever. In spite of this blindness, GYOMEI had a keen sense of sight and was able to avoid malicious actions that some people around him do, trying to make him trip, throwing stuff at him, etc. This made people around him call him a liar, stating that no blind person would be able to do what he does. GYOMEI once beat Inosuke headfirst into the ground, which happened because Inosuke one-sidedly decided to challenge GYOMEI to a match. In Kimetsu Academy, GYOMEI is a civics teacher and first-year homeroom teacher. Since he's so muscular, students were afraid of him at first. But because his personal belongings generally have cats on them, everybody quickly became aware that he's a nice person who likes cats. There have been many incidents of people calling him Dad by accident. Thank you for watching my humble video. Subscribe, like, see you next time.